Element gaining.
What's up YouTube, Team Deception09 here on the No Limit YouTube channel page for this week's Tech Doctor segment. This week I thought we would cover something a little less competitive, but something that recently got some support, stuff like that. It's always been one of those, how do I put it? It's kind of been slightly abused in the form of like the TG Stun thing and Hazy Flame Cerberus. Excuse me. And like it's gotten recent support, and it just seems like something that would be a lot of fun to cover. I mean, sure, we can all play competitive decks, but I mean, at the same time, it just kind of makes things a little boring. So playing something less competitive is a lot more fun every once in a while. Part of the reason why I'm choosing to do this. So yeah, this week what we're going to be covering is obviously Hazy Flames. This is emanbeasty's build. So why not just get right into this, I suppose. Starting off with the monsters, he plays one Tyhoon number 2, 2 Tragodia, 1 Blaster, Dragon Roller, Infernos, 3 Hazy Flames, or Hydra. This is one of, if not the only new support card. For anyone who doesn't know what this is, it is a level 6 dinosaur, 2300 attack, 200 defense. Your opponent cannot target this card with card effects. You cannot special summon any monsters except for fire monsters. An Xyz monster that was summoned using this card as an Xyz material gains the following effect. When it is Xyz summoned, you can target one Hazy Flame monster in your graveyard, attach the target to this card as an Xyz material. Sorry, I'm trying not to be very, very slow about, like how we normally are, I suppose. Anyways, yeah, 3 of that. Since he's playing Tyhoon, however you want to pronounce that, he's playing 3 Tefnuits. Kind of just like special, attribute it for one of the Hazy Flames, bring out Tyhoon, and make an instant level 6 rank, whatever thingamabobber. So yeah, 3 Tefnuit for that. 3 Hazy Flame Cerberus, 3 Hazy Flame Perryton, 3 Flameville Fire Dog, and 3 Card D. Spells, we have 2 Heretic Seal of Convocation, 1 Dark Hole, 2 Upstart Goblins, 1 Rekindling, 3 Potted Duality, 2 Mystical Space Typhoon, 2 Forbidden Lance, 2 Hazy Pillar, and the only trap card he's playing in this deck is 3 Royal Decrees. Alrighty then, next is Extra Deck. I am recording this at like 4:20 in the morning, so feel free to make all the jokes if you want. Anyways, Extra Deck. He has 1 copy of Gaia Dragon, the Thunder Charger, 1 copy of number C73, Abyss Supra Splash. For those who do not know what this is, because this is an OCG only card at the moment, it is a 2000 attack or 2000 defense. It rank 6, obviously. It requires 3 level 6 monsters. If a monster you control battles an opponent's monster during damage calculation in either player's turn, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card once per battle, and your monster gains attack equal to the attack of the opponent's monster it's battling during that damage calculation only. So it's kind of like a mini Honest, but it has kind of a hefty, summoning requirement. So yeah. Anyways, continuing on, we have 1 number 25 Force Focus, 1 Photon Strike Bouncer, 1 Sword Breaker, kind of your Xyz Cataster, 1 number 6 Chronomaly Atlantis, 3 Hazy Flame Basiltrice, 3 Gauntlet Launcher, really good rank 6, at least in my opinion. It's kind of just underrated whenever it comes to rank 6 cards that are played, but whatever, I guess opinions are just, to each their own, I suppose. Continuing on, we have 1 Fairy Knight Ingunar. I think that's how it's pronounced. I'm not entirely sure. His name's always been kind of weird to me. Whatever. 1 Insector Exabeetle and 1 number C5 Chaos Chimera Dragon. So that's the kind of a thing. If you don't know what this card does, it is a 0/0, 3 or more level 6 monsters. This card gains 1000 attack for each material attached to it. If this card attacks at the end of the damage step, you can detach 1 Xyz material from this card. This card can attack an opponent's monster once again. At the end of the battle phase, you can pay half your life points, then target 2 cards in either player's graveyard. Place 1 of them on top of the deck, and if you do, attach the other target to this card as a material. So essentially this card's kind of interesting. I'm going to actually cover this because it is not in the fixed build, of course. The interesting thing about this, though, is you can target 2 cards in your opponent's graveyard. You can take one of them, make it a material on him, and then you can also make them dead draw into something that they don't really want. Interesting card, really. It's not something that I prefer to play, but we'll get into that whenever we get into the, So, fixed build. There you go. Yeah, that's the thing. So starting off with the monsters, we have 1 Tyhone number 2, 2 Tragodia, 3 Hazy Flame Hydra, 2 Hazy Flame Manticore, 3 Heretic Dragon of Tefnuit, 3 Hazy Flame Cerberus, 3 Hazy Flame Sphinx, 3 Hazy Flame Periton, and 2 Flameville Fire Dog. Spells, we have 2 Onslaught of the Fire Kings, 2 Heretic Seal of Convocation, 1 Soul Charge, 3 Upstart Goblins, 2 Mystical Space Typhoons, 2 Forbidden Lance, and 3 Hazy Pillar. And of course, the only trap card is the 3 Royal Decrees, since that's initially what you seem to be wanting to be doing with your deck. So yeah. Extra deck, we have 2 Gaia Dragon, the Thunder Charger, 1 number 25 Force Focus, 2 Constellar Ptolemy M7, 1 Photon Strike Bouncer, 1 Sword Breaker, 1 Evil Czar Solda, 3 Hazy Flame Basel Trice, 1 number 72 Shogi Rook. For those of you who do not know what this card does, because again, OCG cards, it is a 2500 attack, 1200 defense. It requires 2 level 6 monsters. Once per turn, you can detach 2 Xyz materials from this card, then target one face-up monster your opponent controls, and one set spell or trap card your opponent controls, destroy them, but any battle damage your opponent takes is halved for the rest of the turn. So, kind of one of those, what's it called, Zenmayo type of deals, but it has a decent body, just like, you know, and it kind of gets rid of more than just spells and traps, so good card really. At least every time I play it works out fine. Continuing on, we have 2 Gauntlet Launcher and then 1 X-Beetle. So things that we did for the monsters, I dropped the Blaster, the one of the Fire Dogs, and the 3 cars. Either way, you're going to be kind of leaving yourself wide open if you're not going to have anything you can normal summon. Instead of hoping to draw into them with things like car and stuff like that, I just added in a few other copies of cards, which we'll get to whenever we get to that part of the deck. So yeah, that's kind of the reason why the cars were dropped. Flammable Fire Dog, yeah, you have some targets, but outside of Cerberus and Hydra, you don't actually really have anything. So, I mean, having 3 Fire Dogs seems a bit excessive. And the Blaster, while it is a good card for blowing up cards on the field by pitching a dead fire from your hand or something, it's basically just a 2000 beater whenever you get to be like maybe mid or late game. So, I mean, I don't know. It's something that I guess you can play around with. So I'm going to just kind of cover the things that we added in so that way I can kind of suggest something else as well. The things we added in were the 2 Hazy Flame Manticores, and we added in 3 Hazy Flame Sphinx. If you really feel the need to continue playing Blaster, you could probably drop one of the Manticores. I personally like Manticore because you can't be targeted by your opponent's card effects. On top of that, you can discard, well, it's not, I guess it's not discard, quote unquote. You can send a fire monster, accept this card from your hand or face up on your side of the field to the graveyard, and it cannot be destroyed by card effects. So the hands are a thing. There's the fact that Moral Attack doesn't target, so you can use Manticore to protect yourself from that, things like that. So it's just overall a really nice card to have, which is part of the reason why I added it in here. Hazy Sphinx, I can understand, is kind of a situational type of card, but at the same time it allows you to make some pretty good plays. It's just something that I feel like is really, really good to have in the deck, and considering something else that we've added into this deck, it's a good card to have, just because it's another target for it. So, I mean, there's that. I don't really think there's anything else from the monsters that I need to explain, so we can move on to the spells. From the spells, we dropped the Dark Hole, the Rekindling, and the 3-Potted Duality. I'm pretty sure you can understand what I replaced the Rekindling with. The reason for this is it's not limited to monsters with 200 defense, and you only have a few targets in here for the Rekindling itself. At least with Soul Charge, yeah, you'll be paying, well, not paying life points, but losing life points, quote unquote, for each monster you bring back, but still, at the same time, you're not limited to only 3 monsters in the deck, which would be the Hydra, the Cerberus, and your Fire Dog, which is in total 8 monsters. So I don't really like the idea of doing Rekindling whenever that's all you really have, and you have like all these other better cards to have. Like you can bring back Sphinx, use her effect, get something, and just wreck face with it. I don't know. You kind of get the gist of it. So, I mean, we added in the Soul Charge over the Rekindling. If you find that Rekindling is actually playing better for you, feel free. But from playtesting around with the fixed version of this, it's actually proven to be better than the rekindling. Again, it's different for everyone, so maybe rekindling does work better for you. I don't really know, but I'm suggesting to at least try the soul charge if nothing else. I guess that's kind of what every deck doctor video is like, try this build, and if nothing else, and if it doesn't work for you, then feel free to, but whatever. Anyways, continuing on. We added in a third upstart. Duality is kind of like an upstart in a way, but you can be a little more picky about what you get off of your quote-unquote draw. But at the same time, it restricts your special summons, which this deck kind of doesn't want to do unless you're actually still playing like card and whatnot. I guess if you still decide to play the cards, the dualities are still a good card to play. But if you're going to do that, I'm not sure if I would really play the upstarts, and because I feel like you could play better cards instead. So we just added in the third upstart in place of like one of the, dualities. In place of the other two dualities, we can kind of cover this now. Onslaught of the Fire Kings. You have target, you have target, you have target, and you have target. So you have plenty of targets for this, and it also kind of acts as like another thing with the whole Seal of Convocation thing. It's kind of the same, but brings it from the deck. It's basically a spell form of Cyber Dragon, like this thing right here. So, I mean, it allows you to do that. So it's just kind of good for that. And yeah, the effect's negated and whatnot, but it can provide you tribute fodder if you for some reason need it. It can allow you to put out 2 monsters with the Hazy Pillar, because then you could just use Hazy Pillar and not gonna tribute my monster to summon a Hazy Flame. I can just drop that shit on the field. Things like that. It allows you to make some pretty stupid plays, and at 2, it's worked pretty good. I tried 3, it got kind of cloggy, and at 1, it's kind of too little. Though I suppose at 1, you're kind of still playing the Heretic Seal of Convocation. So, I mean, you could try dropping one of these for something else as well if you really want. It's something that I would recommend just playing around with. It's still a really good card to play. At 2, it's been playing well for me. And the last spell that we added, that I think that, yeah, I have my little checklist off to the side. You guys can't see that, but yeah. The last thing that we added was the third Hazy Pillar. This deck really wants to be able to get these high-level monsters on board as fast as possible to make sure that they don't get, like, overwhelmed by the opponent's field on a later turn, potentially being the next turn after yours. Hazy Pillar is just good for doing that. It's also great for setting up like extra materials on cards that want those extra materials if you find yourself actually needing them, of course. So, I mean, there's that. I really don't know if I need to explain the card anymore. You're already playing 2, so having a third just increases your odds of not only drawing into it, but being able to have it when you really need it. Extra deck, we added in 1 Gaia Dragon. I'm just going to list off everything we added in, and I'll cover everything we got rid of. We added in a Gaia Dragon, we added in 2 Ptolemies, we added in the Solda, and we added in the Shogi Rook. Some people know it as Line Monster Chariot Hishia, something like that. I don't really know. But yeah, I think I've already explained the Line Monster Chariot. It's an overall really good card. Not sure why you didn't have Ptolemy in there in the first place. Maybe you forgot it or something. I'm not entirely sure. It's kind of like a better Exabeetle because it can just go, okay, I'll put your extra deck monster back into your extra deck. It gets you cards back from your graveyard to your own hand, things like that. So it's just kind of like, in a way, a better version of Exabeetle. The reason why you still have the Exabeetle in here is because summoning my Armelio, get Bottomless, and then have the Bottomless for your summon. I mean, if you can somehow manage to protect your monsters when you summon them so you can summon the Exabeetle, or if you already have the monsters for it, then you're kind of just set. So just kind of saying on that. There's also Lance, I suppose, as well, to kind of protect the Ptolemy. It's just kind of just there to have it. Not to mention that you can also overlay the Gaia Dragon over the Exabeetle as well as pretty much everything else in this extra deck. So that's kind of a thing. This is the most hilarious freaking card in the entire deck. I swear this is just hilarious. Perryton is one of the dumbest cards I think that they have ever made for this archetype. It was probably completely unnecessary, and I have no idea why this is actually a thing. But like the fact that you can play Perryton, like if you have Pillar, or if you bring it out from your deck somehow or whatever, or if you bring it back off of Soul Charge or something like that, you can pitch any fire monster in your hand and summon 2 Hydras who should I reiterate that they are dinosaurs, you can just overlay for Solda. The funny part is if you happen to have 2 Hazy Flames in your graveyard when you make the Solda with the 2 Hydras, that's 4 materials on your Solda. So you can negate 4 special summons basically, or destroy them. I don't think it negates, I think it just destroys. So you could destroy the special summon monsters, and as long as it has a material, it can't be destroyed by card effects. That is unfucking believable. Pardon my French if anyone doesn't like me swearing, but it's just unbelievable. So the things that we took out were the Abyss, Supra Splash, the Chronomaly Atlantis, one of the Gauntlet Launchers, the Fairy Knight Ingunar, and the Chaos Chimera Dragon. Ingunar, or Chaos Chimera, and not the Atlantis, the Supra Splash all require 3 materials, if not more, and you already kind of have cards that are kind of close enough to that, and you don't really want that. You want to be able to just make something, and that's kind of a thing. So, you know, you don't want to have that one moment where you need the card, but you just can't make it and then lose because of it or something. It's happened to me before with different decks. So, I mean, just kind of feel like I need to put that out there. Anyways, I hope that the fixed build works for emanbeasty. I hope it works for anyone that decides to play it. If you have a deck that you would like to have potentially featured in an upcoming episode of, you know, Deck Doctor, then feel free to message it here on the No Limit YouTube channel, and hopefully we can get to it in the upcoming weeks. I think Robbie might be doing it next week or the week after. I'm not entirely sure. He keeps telling me how he's already prepared for 1 week, and then he's like, okay, well, since he's doing that, I already have to do this. So, bleh. So yeah, if you haven't already, don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and until next time, this is Team 709 signing out.